Good afternoon, everybody. Assemblywoman Gunther and I came here straight from Albany, and we have some long-awaited, extremely good and I think welcome news for the city of Albany today. This city of Middletown.
You can't get it out of your head.
My brain's still up there. This beautiful building that is right behind us is a former federal courthouse, and the unfortunate reality is that it has sat vacant for, I think, a full decade. Thanks to Assemblywoman Gunther, back in 2015, with funding through her office, which she'll certainly talk about in a moment, the city was able to purchase this building for, I think, a couple $1 million, if I'm not mistaken. But due to the Office of Court Administration demanding that significant rehabilitation take place inside this building to bring it up to certain standards, the city of Middletown has been forced to, over the past decade, split up their judicial activity into actually two courthouses, two courtrooms in the interim. You've got some of the court activity taking place actually in City Hall, and then you've got some of the court activity taking place in the current courthouse. And that's caused a multitude of problems. Not only is it inefficient, it's more expensive. It has forced the police department to send some of their workforce down to the basement of the courthouse. And so we have been waiting a long time to try and get this project up and running. We've been begging and pleading with the Office of Court Administration that they should be footing some of the bill for the improvements that are in this building because of one important reason. And that is, many years ago, the state came down and started requiring that counties and regions do some of this court activity on a consolidated basis. And so the city of Middletown has actually been hosting not just court proceedings for charges that are happening in the city, but hosting the activity, the court activity, for towns and villages and cities throughout the entire county and footing that bill. And so we went back to OCA, Court Administration, and said, for that reason, your mandate, you should be helping with the costs associated with bringing this building up to the standards that you're seeking. They refused to chip in, even 1 penny, never mind $1, and so this building has sat vacant for many, many years. This past budget cycle, through the Senate, we were able to secure $3 million to finally get this project up and running, which is great news for the city of Middletown. And so phase one was Aileen Gunther many years ago getting the money to purchase this building. Phase two was finally getting the funding that the city desperately needed from the state to move forward with this long-awaited project. We'll certainly hear from the city, Mayor DeStefano, who has been, and not just on this, but on all projects, a phenomenal partner. This kind of stuff only works if all the layers are working together. The city, the Assembly, the Senate. This is only the latest example of that happening in a highly effective way on behalf of our shared constituents. The 30,000 plus people in the city of Middletown expect their government officials to work together. We do that in a highly effective way here in the city of Middletown, and the results speak for themselves. I know there are a whole bunch of Middletown folks who are here. I am going to let the mayor acknowledge all of them, because inevitably I would get one wrong, miss somebody, and then you'd blame me. And so if the mayor misses someone, you can blame him instead. But first, we're going to hear from my great partner in the state legislature and friend, Assemblywoman Aileen Gunther.
Thank you. So thank you all for being here today. And before I go on with my speech, it's been my great pleasure to represent the city of Middletown. People that I've worked with have been awesome. We've been able to work together to bring back money to this important city, and Joe and Maria and all of these folks have been just wonderful. And you know what? We work together, but we become good friends, and that's what's important. So I'm very pleased to be able to celebrate this historic investment in the renovation of Middletown City Courthouse. In 2016, I was able to put our taxpayer dollars to work for all of us to secure $2.7 million for the former federal courthouse building to be purchased by the city. Today, with the $3 million that the State Senate grant secured by Senator Skoufis, we can proudly say that we will soon see the results of the years of hard work that went for this project. I will always support efforts to improve the functionality of our state and our local courts. Having everything in one convenient location will surely allow the City of Middletown to streamline their proceedings, saving our residents both time and money. So thank you, and thank you again, Senator Skoufis and Joe.
You're up.
Thank you. And first, I'd like to acknowledge the city officials that are here with us today. From the first ward, we have Alderman Massey, who's also chairman of our Finance Committee. In the second ward, Alderman Kleiner, along with Commissioner of Public Works Jacob Twiel, our Police Chief John Iwanchu, and Maria Bruni, Economic Development Director. We have some representatives from the Police Department here also, and so I want to thank everyone for attending. I think the Senator is 100% right on the timeline, but I can only tell you how many years this was stalled, and that is the big difference that Senator Skoufis made. Aileen Gunther, our Assemblywoman Gunther, we're going to miss her effectiveness in Albany for sure. She was able to deliver this building to us along with $500,000 for the transition from the existing court to the new court and some renovation at the old court back in 2015. What we then experienced with the Office of Court Administration over the period of time was just utter craziness on their behalf. They wanted things done in this building that would have cost Middletown taxpayers so much money that it became unaffordable. We then presented a solution, which was the two courtroom solution, which was supposed to be short-term. We fought with OCA for many, many years, and it wasn't until Senator Skoufis was able to step forward with this commitment after meeting with the city and the Office of Court Administration, Assemblywoman Gunther, in our Common Council chambers, was it decided that that we were not going to get any money, or as he said, not one penny and not $1 from the Office of Court Administration, and that this new regional court concept would have to be funded primarily, solely by Middletown taxpayers. That wasn't acceptable to us. So by the Senator stepping forward with this $3 million added to with Assemblywoman Gunther stepping forward many, many years ago to the $2.7 million, we are now in a position that we will be able to have this project out for bid, and bids out by this summer, and construction before the end of the year. So that's exciting news for us. I know that because we've already bid it once, and without the funding in place, hoping that the state would come forward with their share, and that did not happen. So we have a pretty good grab on the numbers. The timing will be good for us. We will then be able to have additional parking here for the users of the court and employees of the court. There's also additional economic development opportunity here because the building to my left, the FAR building, that is not part of the project, but it is part of the property here. So we will then turn that property over to our economic development team for development of that structure also. So this is a win-win for us. We believe it's a win for the state also. They will now be able to consolidate the operations into one place rather than have two court teams. They'll have one court team. Rather than two security teams, they'll have one. So I think what the Senator and Aileen have done is they also save the state money, which sometimes the state doesn't realize it until it happens. But they're going to realize it here because they're going to have one place, one-stop shopping for all, and we'll have a efficient courtroom setting here in the city of Middletown. So I want to thank everyone for coming. If you have questions of any of us, please feel free to ask from the press. I know we have Justin, Kara.
And it allows the police department to expand up into the current facilities.
Yeah, and that's big because some of the detectives are downstairs in the police station, not the most suitable working conditions. So they're going to be able to expand up to the courtroom, the existing court facilities now, be more efficient service there also. So it's a win-win all the way around, and we're just thankful that the senator was able to bring this money home for us. So any questions from anyone for any of us?
For you, sir.
Yep.
You mentioned the bids. Do you know when the courthouse will be operational? With, people
I think 12 to 18 months is the timeline, correct, Jacob? 12 to 18 months from when we start construction.
The other thing too is how many people are working here? You mentioned economic development. It's just another group of people, workers to come and shop in your downtown, get lunch, etc.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The building next door is 10,000 square feet, and we believe it'll be suitable for either some conference areas or small office space for lawyers that do a lot of practicing in the Middletown City Court, especially since it's become a regional court. So we've never disputed the concept of having regional courts. We think it's a good idea for the state. We think it's a good idea for some of the surrounding communities because Middletown does have 2 full-time judges, and all of that falls into place. But we didn't believe that Middletown taxpayers should have borne the full cost of this facility. And we understood in the past because courts make some communities money, not Middletown, but courts make some communities money, especially with traffic court. It doesn't happen here. So we have the ability now to provide this other service to other communities without having this all fall on Middletown taxpayers' shoulders.
And to your point, Justin, I don't think we can underscore enough that this city over the past years has undergone a renaissance, a revitalization. You go downtown, and it's a very different downtown than it was even just 5 years ago. And so this is just the latest a brick in the wall here in rebuilding the city of Middletown, where we don't want empty buildings. We don't want derelict buildings. And to your point, there's now going to be foot traffic coming from this building, soon enough the building next door. So this is the latest step in the continued renaissance of the city of Middletown. Anybody else?
And $3 million, is that a construction cost?
No, the total rehab here will be about $6 million. $3 million by the state, $3 million by the city. Under the old formula, the city would have to foot the whole bill for $6 million. The original plans from the Office of Court Administration, going back 7, 8, 9 years ago, estimated the cost to be 10 to 12 million. So you can see not for this structure, for another site they wanted to have. So you can see the difference between Middletown taxpayers in 2017, 2018 footing a $10 to $12 million bill versus today paying a $3 million bill.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Great. Thank you very
all.
much, everybody. Great news.
Thank you.